Hey y'all, let's go over some more extra hard chess.com puzzles. So, this is the first one today. The obvious move is obviously capturing here, but then you have this capture. So that doesn't work. Let me exit this. Sorry. So the other idea is here, which is have to calculate down queen takes, right? And then you get to have this check. If king takes, then you can check with the queen. And is that mate? They go back and then you check there and then proceed to hammer them by queening. So it's the same idea here. I figured this one out. You take, they take with the king, so it's not immediate mate. Check, same idea, and then check, and check, mate. This is mate, yeah. Yeah, that's the first one. Moving on to the next one. This one is a pretty, I found it was pretty difficult. The idea that came to mind for me at the very beginning is the motif of this giving a check here, and then this would be a check, right? And forking the rook and the king. That doesn't work though because there's a knight here to guard. So if the knight wasn't there and you wanted to trade down pieces to go into a winning endgame, then that would work, right? If you imagine this knight wasn't here, I give a check. We would obviously be up material, but that would be a way to simplify. We give a check, they take, you check to trade off. They could push this pawn, but your king's here to stop it. Imagining this knight's not here, of course. So that doesn't work, right? So looking at this puzzle just straight up, you can see that this pawn is hanging, and there's no immediate threat from the opponent's side. They can't capture this. This is not under threat. There's no checks either because the knight is away from the king. So it seems safe to just capture the pawn. So that's the first move. And now you have to calculate, okay, where the knight's going, right? There's only one safe square to go. So they're going to go there unless they want to lose. So here is another stopping point that I had where I had to think about what I wanted to do. Again, this motif exists now because the knight's away, but calculating that check, you're giving up a rook for free. That doesn't work because ultimately the knight now defends their rook. So if you check them and then take, their knight just takes back. So that doesn't work. Again, if they have a knight, imagine they have their knight here. You want to push this pawn up to queen, but like the knight's in the way, and you just have a king and one pawn, so it's not enough material for you to win. You're gonna lose. So what did I think about here? Okay, yeah. So my thought was I wanted to kick the rook away. Kick the rook away. If they go back, I can swing my I could push or even swing my rook over, and I'd have a pretty good initiative. So I played here. That was the right move, and now they just sack their, or they don't sack. They take my pawn, and here there's this fork here. So that doesn't work. That just wins the rook. So that's the puzzle. Oh, I guess it continues. Wow, I didn't know it did that. Okay, cool. Next puzzle. This one's actually pretty hard. I mean, I guess they're all extra hard. This one I did not get right. So first, the thing that I thought was, okay, what are the risks, right? Like, what happens if I don't give a check with my queen. Then because I'm pretty surrounded by my by opponent pieces, I saw that they could just give repetition. They just check, check, check. That's like the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they could probably mate me somehow. I wasn't calculating that far. But because of these puzzles, like want you to mate, like a draw is not good enough, right? So I was thinking like, okay, I have to give checks. This is the obvious check, right? And then they go here. They can't go here because that just hangs the bishop, and then I continue the attack. So they would obviously go here. Now, the follow-up that I looked at was queen here to check. But I thought that didn't work because they block with the bishop. Or they block with the pawn. Or I thought that it would work because they block with the pawn, and I give another check, and then they continue to get attacked. I didn't see while I was calculating that if I go here, they come up and my queen is here on c2, they could just block with the bishop. And I can continue attacking with the knight to try to give checkmate, but that's not a check, right? Like, I remember I mentioned before that they always have this check repetition ready to go. So I have to keep checking. I only saw that the mistake that I made here was that I saw once the pawn was up here and I give a check, I didn't see the bishop block, and I thought that it was gonna just lead to mate with my knight coming in. So the first move is obviously check, right? That's the only check to give. Yeah, that's the only check to give. Here, what is the next move? I actually forgot. Oh, yeah. There is no mate to give. They just, you're just winning a free piece because the knight is hanging. I didn't take that into consideration because the knight hanging comes into play with, I guess, like the repetition. Now there's no repetition because the queen actually defends those squares. So at the end of the day, you're just winning a piece. It's not like a checkmate puzzle. Actually, let me see something because I think that okay, so you can't check there because the knight blocks. And then I was thinking, so this is what I saw earlier, and it's a draw because of this, right? Oh, that's a mate. Knight d7. Oh, okay. What's the mate here? Queen takes f7 check. Oh yeah, I wasn't even looking at that. Anyways, on to the next puzzle. There's two more. Okay, this one was a pretty fun one. So you can look at the number of pieces that the opponent has. It's way more than you have, or way more than we have. So obviously this is a mate puzzle. So I was thinking the initial move that I was thinking of is here. But that just allows the king to like run away. So I realized that like, okay, I have to keep the king like within this box over here. That means that, you know, I can't just come over here. I have to like entice him to go deeper in this box. So I have to use my queen because the rook keeps this file in, right? And then the pawn also keeps him in here. So these squares are taken. Now I need something along here. So that's where I found this move. Queen check to keep the pawn, keep the king inside this box. Now this is the move. Now I want to give mate, right? This would be a nice mate. So at this point, he just gives away the queen. So that's whatever. During the puzzle, though, I was actually thinking about this defense. I didn't see because this stops the immediate thought, but I didn't see that you could just move the queen back into like tunnel vision into like, you know, like bringing the queen over. So that's something I gotta work on. So this is, yeah, me. Okay, this is the last puzzle. This one is pretty interesting as well. Initial thought obviously is like these two are getting attacked, and then there's a battery here. I feel like those are like the main things to look for. So it's, for me, it was just a matter of calculating which one to take. Obviously, if I take with the knight here, they just take back with the rook, and my queen's getting attacked. So, and the battery is not gonna play, so that's not the right idea. Second interesting idea that I thought about was sacrificing the queen. If I sack the queen, they would take back with the pawn, and I would give a check with the knight. It would be interesting maybe if like they move their king to the very corner, then like then I could like kind of, what is it, like windmill a little bit. When the king goes back and forth here, and my knight would just like start collecting stuff around by like jumping. But I realized that the king could just come up to g2 once the pawn comes here and takes, and I take it back. Once that happens, like the king can just like run away, and then like there's no good knight jumps that are like enough compensation for the queen. So I found that that was that didn't end up working out. Last thing that I saw was taking with the knight, right? And then I don't think there's a reason for them to take with the pawn, because I think they would wanna trade they would want to trade pieces. So I didn't really calculate that far. So I thought knight takes, queen takes, and then I realized that, hey, this rook is actually hanging. If we traded, if I attack and I take their rook, they would take my bishop, and then I'd be up the exchange, and that's pretty good. So I thought that was the way to go. You can play it down. That was correct. Now I try to attack their rook, right? Discover attack their queen with my bishop. And then now they counterattack. Yeah, so this one was kind of interesting. I was thinking like, okay, there's basically the only way to defend my bishop is to move back. But if I take the rook, then it's the same idea as like before, right? It's just like being up the exchange, just desperado. So if I take the rook, they take back, and I take their queen, we would be up the exchange because I would have essentially traded my bishop for their rook. So that's what ended up happening. That's the puzzle. I thought that was pretty interesting because like just coming up from here, it's not very obvious that this would be the ultimate play. I guess like knowing the answer, you can see now that the rook is hanging, right? Before I'm just thinking like, oh yeah, they're defending their bishop more sufficiently, but I guess the core idea is like they're defending it with something that's hanging, so it's something that's jeopardized down the line, or that can be jeopardized. All right, that's it. That was pretty fun. See you next time.